Hemshech the Hilchas Mila. Tonight we're going to handle the Indian of Bein Hashmashos that's Negeya to Mila. It's not only Negeya Bein Hashmashos during the week, it's Negeya Bein Hashmashos Shabbos also. If let's say the baby is born Friday afternoon after Shkia, or if let's say the baby is born Motzei Shabbos, Shabbos day after the Shkia. To Shulchan Aruch, we learned already in Siman Reish Samach Beis, Beis, Sif Daled, Noilad Bein Hashmashos, if the baby is born, let's say for an example, now, or let's say at 9 o'clock, a couple of minutes after Shkia, Zakta Shulchan Aruch, Moinim Loi Mehalayla, you count it from tonight, which means when do you do the Bris? If the baby is born at 8:35 tonight, now a half hour ago, when do you do the Bris? Do you do it Tuesday? Or do you do the Bris next week, which tonight is Wednesday, do you do it next week Wednesday? Dr. Shulchan Aruch, that you do the Bris next week Wednesday, even though the baby is born now, which is technically a couple of minutes after Tuesday, but since it's Bein Hashmashos, it's in between day and night, and it's a suffix what day it is, so the Mela, the halach is, the Mila is going to be done the next day, it's going to be done Wednesday. It's kedai to get a little bit of the background in the din of Bein Hashmashos, and then we'll go from there, we'll go into a few dinim where it's negay and Hilchas Mila. The Gemara in Pesachim, Daf Tzadik Daled, sagt the Gemara, that from Shkiyas Achama, from when the sun goes down, from when the sun sets, till Tzeis HaKechavim, till when the stars come out, is a shear of Daled Milan. The shear of Daled Milan, a meal is 18 minutes, so a meal of 4 times 18 is 72. From Shkia, from when the sun goes down, till Tzeis HaKechavim, till when the stars come out, is 72 minutes. There's another Gemara, the Gemara in Shabbos. The Gemara in Shabbos, Daf Lamed Daled says that from the Gemara says from Shkiyas Achama starts Bein Hashmashos, and Bein Hashmashos continues for 3/4 of a mil, and then is Tzeis HaKechavim is night, which means 3/4 of a mil. If a mil is 18 minutes, so it comes out to be 13 and a half minutes. So the Gemara says from Shkia till Tzeis HaKechavim is 13 and a half minutes. So the shaila is, how do the two Gemaras shtim? Is it 72 minutes or it's 13 and a half minutes? Tosfos asks the shaila, Tosfos in Pesachim asks, how long is from Shkia till Tzeis HaKechavim? Dr. Rabbeinu Tam, this is the famous Shitas Rabbeinu Tam. Rabbeinu Tam says that these two Shkiyas, these are Shkia, which is a Shkia, a physical Shkia when the sun goes down, when it dips below the horizon. That's the Shkia that we see when the sun is no longer here. That's the first Shkia. But even after the first Shkia, it's still Vada Yoim, it's still day, till the next Shkia, which is that 13 and a half minute bracket, which is 13 and a half minutes before 72 minutes after the Shkia. So we have the first Shkia is when the sun goes down. 72 minutes later is when the stars come out, when it's Lila. 13 and a half minutes before that, which means 58 and a half minutes after Shkia, that's when the Bein Hashmashos starts. So later Rabbeinu Tam, the Shkia lehalach is 58 and a half minutes after the sun goes down. From then starts Bein Hashmashos, and then you have 13 and a half minutes Bein Hashmashos till 72 minutes after Shkia. That's Shitas Rabbeinu Tam, with many other Rishonim hold like Rabbeinu Tam. The Shitas HaGoinim, and the Goyin is very myrich, like the Shitas HaGoinim. The Shitas HaGoinim says that Be'etzem Shkia la'alacha is when the sun goes down. Today, 8:25, that's Shkia. When the sun goes down, that's when Shkia is. And from then, 13 and a half minutes is Bein Hashmashos. The Gemara in Pesachim says 72 minutes. The Gemara says he's 4 mil from Shkia till Tzeis HaKechavim. No, that's talking about Tzeis HaKechavim when all the stars come out, not just some stars, when all the stars come out, that's already 72 minutes after Shkia. But technically, the Shkia from Shkia till Tzeis HaKechavim, the 13 and a half minutes, is from the Shkia when the sun goes down. What did you say? Good, that's that. No, in Rabbeinu Tam is Zicher, Rabbeinu Tam Lagabi Kachim, the first Shkia is more Negeya. Lamaisa, even like the Ga'inim, that the Ga'inim say that the Shkia is from when the sun goes down for 13 and a half minutes, Avada, it's only, that's the first 13 and a half minutes, which is only in places where it gets dark very, very fast. If you look over here, you go out 13 and a half minutes after Shkia, there's no Tzeis HaKechavim yet. So that everybody agrees that the Gemara is in Bavel and Eretz Yisrael with the Oifik, it gets dark much faster. So Mela, 13 and a half minutes already is more or less the Zman that is Tzeis HaKechavim. What's Tzeis HaKechavim? The stars come out. What type of stars? So it's Kechavim Bein and mid-sized stars, because the big stars you could even see when it's still by day. So it's mid-sized stars. The Shulchan Aruch says by Deiraisas we're makbid to wait till Kechavim Ktanim. The Shulchan Aruch says the Hilchas Kriyashma by night, that's Deiraisa. So the Shulchan Aruch says Man Kriyashma Balayla Meshas Yitzias Gimel Kechavim Ktanim. Mishnah Berurah explains why 3 small stars, why not medium stars. That's the shear of Tzeis HaKechavim. The machmer that somebody's going to see medium-sized stars, big stars, and he's going to think that it's medium-sized stars, and he's going to go on a lane Krishma. So maybe we say we're machmer to wait till small stars, and once you saw small stars, then already it's Tzeis HaKechavim. So the Vailu, we have a machlokes Rabbeinu Tam and the Ga'inim. When the Bein Hashmashos is, which means when is the time that it's Safek Yom and Safek Laila? Is it the first 13 and a half minutes, which would be today from 8:25, or like Rabbeinu Tam, 8:25 for the next 58 minutes, it's still Vada Yom. Only 58 and a half minutes, we're just about getting there now, is first when Bein Hashmashos starts. Up until then, it's Vada Yom. But nafkamin, if the baby's born, say in middle of the week, or say Friday, or say Motzei Shabbos, when do you do the Bris? Do you do the Bris today, Tuesday, because it's still day, or do you do the Bris tomorrow, because it's Bein Hashmashos, or maybe even night? How do we paskin on this machlokes? Machlokes, Rabbeinu Tam, and the Ga'inim, how do we paskin? So if you take a look in the Shulchan Aruch in Hilchas Shabbos, Siman Reish Samach Aleph, the Shulchan Aruch is speaking about Makabel Shabbos, Tosfos Shabbos. The Mechaber explains what's the shear of Tosfos Shabbos. Zok the Mechaber, Zman Tosfos Shabbos is Metchilas Hashkia, from when the sun starts going down. She'ein Hashemesh Nira al Haaretz, you don't see the sun anymore. Ad Zman Bein Hashmashos, which is, he says, is 3 mil and V'Ravia, which means 58 and a half minutes. That's the shear, the Zman, when you can do Tosfos Shabbos, which seemingly clearly holds that from when the sun goes down for the next 58 and a half minutes, it's still Vada Yom. Because if it's not Vada Yom, how can it be Makabel Shabbos? You see, Klar, the Mechaber Paskins, La Alocha, like Rabbeinu Tam Ladina, that you could do Tosfos Shabbos the first 58 and a half minutes. Lamaisa, that's the Mechaber in Hilchas Shabbos. By us, in Reish Samach Vav, towards the end of Hilchas Mila, the Shulchan Aruch and Sif Tes. Beshir Bein Hashmashos, Reish Samach Vav Sif Tes. Beshir Bein Hashmashos, Ifel Tanoi Vamaroi, Mesapkalon Halacha Kedivrei Mi Hilkach. Sagt der Shulchan Aruch, Yisialad Yenuka Mishetishka Achama. From when the sun goes down below the horizon, Zakta Shulchan Aruch, it's a suffix, and Mamela you have to wait, you have to do it the next day. Would seem pretty clearly from this Shulchan Aruch, this Mechaber, that the Mechaber is paskening like the Ga'inim, that Shkia is from when the sun goes down. And once the sun goes down, today at 8:25, it's already Bein Hashmashos, and Mamela you have to do the Bris the next day. What'd you say? But now Lagabe Mila. We're handling over here Lagabi Mila, and the Rabbeinu Tam Lagabi Mila, there's no Shiloh. Lagabi Mila, Rabbeinu Tam holds that Shkia is 58.5 minutes. Lagabi Kachim, Rabbeinu Tam has the first Mila. First Shkia. Because the Lashon HaMachaber is the Yisyalad Yenuka Mishatishka Achama. Lashon Tishka Achama is when the sun goes down. So we'll get to Rabbi Lipa, we'll get to what you're saying in a minute. The Shulchan Aruch Harav brings this Machaber, and he says this Machaber is not like the Machaber, not in Shulchan Aruch Harav, in Shulchan Aruch Harav, because over there we grab the Paskans like Rabbeinu Tam, but in the Siddur, he brings that this Machaber is soiser to what he says in Hachaim, and mainly says that Enchanami Taka that the Machaber was chayzer, and the Machaber Taka holds like the Go'inim. We'll get to what he's saying in a minute. The Machaber holds like the Go'inim that Shkia is when the sun goes down. The Lashon HaMachaber, Mishatishka Achama, when the sun goes down, starts Shkia, Bein Hashmashos, and the Mela, you have to do the Bris the next day. However, I was a little bit bothered in the Lashon, like what Lipa is saying, Mishatishka Achama. Even Rabbeinu Tam also has the Gemara that calls it Shkia. Why does Tishka Achama have to mean that the sun is going down? In Lahiris Nasan, but Lamaisa, you would have to say that's not that Shkia, that's the Shkia of the Pesachim Shkia. Good, but so why can't it be like Rabbeinu Tam, even the sugya in Shabbos, the other sugya of Lama Dalid, that the sugya Rabbeinu Tam learns that Shkia means 58.5 minutes. No, but the Gemara in Shabbos, even like Rabbeinu Tam, fakert, when it says Shkia means it's the later Shkia. Definitely, Abada like that. The machlokes is how to learn the Gemara in Shabbos when Shkia is. When the Gemara says Shkia, does Shkia mean when the sun goes down, or does Shkia mean 58.5 minutes after Shkia? For whatever reason why that's called Shkia, but that's what Shkia means. The Go'inim say Shkia means like you're saying when the sun goes down. Rabbeinu Tam says Shkia means 58.5 minutes after Shkia. Up until then it's Vadayoy. And you could do the Bris. If a baby's born 50 minutes after Shkia, like Rabbeinu Tam, you do it today. You do it on Shabbos. Mishatishka Chama. Reb Nosson Gestetner in Lahiris Nosson, one of his tshuvas, asks on this Shulchan Aruch Harav, and he says that first of all, the Beis Yosef printed the Shulchan Aruch twice in his lifetime. When he reprinted it the second time, he made changes on the first time he wrote the Shulchan Aruch. And Mamela, if the Shulchan Aruch was chayzer now in Yeridei, what he wrote early in Hachaim, he would have changed what he wrote in Hachaim. And he says, "Ubavadi lagabe hilcha Shabbos achamer," to say that Shabbos starts like Rabbeinu Tam, Avadi would have changed it. So Meli says it's takanat a stira. I the Shulchan Aruch. I hear. He says also, you're right, but he says also that the way we set up the Shulchan Aruch is that you should learn it every 30 days, Gans Shulchan Aruch. So he says that it's not like a thing that's mafuz, it takes years to learn. You should have, if to learn in 30 days, so, yeah, and I'm saying, what I mean to say is you should have taken a change. You should have changed, and I'm saying that even in the second time also, here, you're saying that it was after the second time, but even in the second time, if Vivaidi wrote it, but you can learn it in 30 days, he would have changed the first time also. Lamaisa Hitaka says that when the Shulchan Aruch says Ba'asan Hilchas Mila, that the Lashon of Mishatishka Acham, Hitaka means the second Shkia. So the violin, the machlokes Go'inim and Rabbeinu Tam, we don't have such a clarity if who we paskin like. Even in the Machaber itself, it's Lakan or Lakan. So let's go a little later into the later poskim. The Magen Avram in Hachaim and Hilchas Mila, Siman Shin Lamed Aleph, we'll learn Be'ez Hashem after we finish in Yeridea, a whole Siman. The Magen Avram paskins like Rabbeinu Tam. He brings a Maisa, a few things. The baby was born a few minutes after Shkia, Friday, Fakert, Shabbos afternoon, and Shabbos after Shkia. And the Magen Avram brings La Halacha that you should mal the baby on Shabbos, even though it's after Shkia, because we paskin like Rabbeinu Tam. So the Magen Avram says La Halacha like the Rabbeinu Tam. There was also the Chassam Sofer, paskins like Rabbeinu Tam. And the Ur-Einikol of the Chassam Sofer, the Das Sofer, says that in Preshburg they were noyig up until 58.5 minutes after Shkia. If the baby was born, they used to do it like the day before. So if the baby was born 50 minutes after Shkia, Shabbos afternoon, it was a Shabbos bris. Be'idach, the Shach, we're turned to in Reish Samach Vav, the Shach brings the same shaila about a baby born after Shkia, and he says, he paskins the other way like the Goinim. He says that since it's already a suffix, right after Shkia is already Bein Hashmashos, paskins like the Goinim. So weiter, we have a machlekes over here, the Magen Avram and the Shach, if you paskin like the Goinim, or if you paskin like Rabbeinu Tam. Let's go weiter now to later poskim, the Mishnah Brura. The Mishnah Brura, there's a big Bir Halacha within Reish Samach Aleph, famous Bir Halacha. The Bir Halacha is Meirich, and he goes through his Shittas Rabbeinu Tam and a list who holds like Rabbeinu Tam, and then the Goinim and the Goyin in the Goinim. So he says, he's not Machriya, but he says, even though the Mechaber goes like Rabbeinu Tam, he says the Lashon of the Bir Halacha, L'maisa b'vadai tzorach li zor kedas hagra. You should be zor like the gra, v'harbim and arishonim, aposkim, that right after Shkia, Shosh Achaman Eschase Meinenu Hu Iser Gomer Shloi Lasas Malacha and Memela V'chas L'Sham L'Hakol. The Bir Halacha says, even though there's a machlokes the Goinim and Rabbeinu Tam, L'maisa L'Halacha, he says you have to be machmer like the Goinim, and right when Shkia comes around Friday afternoon, you're not allowed to do Malacha. You have to be machmer. It's a suffix deraisa if you could do Malacha or not. So maybe you can't do Malacha. Oh, the Idach Motzei Shabbos also the Bir Halacha, a few Bir Halachas weiter. V'nochel l'tchatchilot, a little bit of a different lashon, but he also says v'nochel l'tchatchilot lotzes das Rabbeinu Tam v'chol hani ravusa machzikim b'shitasei shloi lasses malacha Motzei Shabbos till 72 achi yishalom ashir dalad milim. So then he says Motzei Shabbos avadu you should be machma like Rabbeinu Tam, which like Rabbeinu Tam 72 minutes. What? What do you mean it's more chamer? If it's called Becheskas also, because it's a Suyi L'Shtanis, it's a regular time that changed. We'll get into it a little bit about Becheskas by Suffolk. What's L'Maisa? So in Shevet HaLevi says that when Kishayinu B'chutz La'aretz Hayinu Regilam K'Rabbeinu Tam, the Magen Avram paskins like Rabbeinu Tam, he says L'Maisa in Eretz Yisrael the minigs nespashit like the Goinim. And you see in Eretz Yisrael it's a lot more. People are much more Dam Ma'ariv, even Motzei Shabbos, Yom Kippur. People go with the earliest man, they go with the Goinim. The Chazon Ish said 35 minutes after Shkia is Vadei Laila, and if a baby's born 35 minutes after Shkia, you do it the next day. Whether if it's Friday afternoon, 35 minutes after Shkia, it's going to be a Shabbos bris. Or middle of the week also, it's going to be 35 minutes after Shkia, which is, it's the next day for sure. Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, they bring it in Shmir Shabbos Kol Chasi, Mamashir earlier Zman, he says 17 minutes, and he says the efsher that if you want to be machmer, 25 minutes. But that's if you go with the Goinim. They're talking in Eretz Yisrael, only Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael. Yeah. Eretz Yisrael, Vad in Eretz Yisrael. Like we mentioned before, the Zman of the Goinim that they learned the Gemara on Shabbos is the first 13.5 minutes. And then afterwards, it's night. You walk outside over here. There's no tzad of tzeis Hachaim 30. The teretz is because they're talking about in Bovel and like in Eretz Yisrael. That's where it's much earlier. But about the places where it's different, it's not going to be. So you should know that in Shmir Shabbos Kol Chasai, the 13.5 minutes is a shir in Bovel. So what's in Eretz Yisrael? Is in Eretz Yisrael a little more. The Shmir Shabbos Kachas brings even a sheet at 10 minutes, which means 10 minutes is less than 13.5 minutes. Then he says, Bevadai, not 10 minutes, 17 minutes. And he says, the Efsher, that even 25 minutes. Just the Enachana. What it's saying? Yeah. Lamaisa, what do you do Lamaisa? So, right in Yena Shtickle, there's a few Shtickle Shevet Alevi, but he says that if somebody that's noyig like the Go'inim, not noyig like Rabbeinu Tam, it's hard to tell to say, if let's say the person does Matzah Shabbos Malacha, whatever time in Eretz Yisrael, 35, or whenever in America, if he goes with the Go'inim, La Halacha, Dr. Vos there, it's hard to say, to tell this person that if the baby's born 50 minutes after Shkia, that he should wait for the next day, that it's a suffix. If he does Malacha, he holds like the Go'inim, it's a hard to disasri to tell him to wait. However, he says like this, Lamaisa, what happens if you have, it goes in, he has two interesting shilas. If let's say you have a moyel that's noyeg like Rabbeinu Tam, he holds the earliest man. The baby was born 50 minutes after Shkia. Friday night, 50 minutes after Shkia. He holds 50 minutes after Shkia is for sure night. Motzei Shabbos, 50 minutes after Shkia, he's ready doing Malacha. So he's going to do the Bris Shabbos. Ramaisa, the moyel, if he holds like a Rabbeinu Tam, so loita moyel, the Bris can't be on Shabbos. 50 minutes after Shkia. Why? Because the Bris is really supposed to be Friday. 50 minutes after Shkia, it's Vada Yoim, and the Bris was supposed to be Friday. You following? And Memela, it was supposed to be Friday. Memela, loit yen, the Shitas Rabbeinu Tam, Shabbos is a Bris Shaloi Bismanai. He's supposed to really be doing the Bris Friday, so you merely have to do it Sunday. Shaloi Bisman is not doing the Shabbos. So the Mela, he says it's an issue for somebody that's doing an earliest man to do the bris with the earliest man. Let's say it was 50 minutes after Shkia to do it on Shabbos, with a moil that holds the latest man. He brings another shaila the other way around. Let's say the baby was born the next day, Friday, Shabbos afternoon, 20 minutes after Shkia. So born 20 minutes after Shkia, the father is noyig like Rabbeinu Tam. So it's born 20 minutes after Shkia, Motzei Shabbos. So like the father, when was the baby born? Shabbos. He wants to come and get a moyel, or let's not even say Shabbos, let's even make it simple, or middle of the week. Yeah, the baby was born today, 20 minutes after Shkia, 8:25. Shkia was born 20 minutes later, 8:45. So he holds like Rabbeinu Tam. The bris is going to be Tuesday. He calls a moyel, and the moyel is noig like the Go'inim. So what comes out? Like the Go'inim, 20 minutes after Shkia is Bein Hashmashos a suffix, and Medina, when are you supposed to do the bris? Like the Go'inim, is born 20 minutes after Shkia. Tomorrow, Wednesday, a week later, Wednesday. So he says there's a problem. What's the problem of the moyel doing the bris? There's a problem of the moyel making a bracha. Because how could the moyel, you're following, how could the moyel make a bracha on Wednesday, on Tuesday, next week Tuesday? The Avia Ben holds like Rabbeinu Tam, was born tonight 20 minutes after Shkia. So late Avia Ben, the baby was born Tuesday, he's doing it next week Tuesday. But Lamaisa, next week Tuesday, late the moyel, it's already Bein Hashmashos, and you're supposed to do it Wednesday. If you're supposed to do it Wednesday, how could he make a bracha? Oh, very good. He bavarns this sad, but he says, and Hachaim is a shliach, but he says that Lamaisa, you could be a shliach from today till tomorrow, but if you hold like the Go'inim, you hold that he's not supposed to be doing the bris today, so it doesn't help that you're a shliach. You hold that he's also not doing it. It's not the right time. It's kedai to mention over here that in Sefer Bris Avram HaKohen from Rami Cohen, he brings that he was a Maisa by the Satmar Rebbe, the Divrei Yoel, which was ki yidu and noyeg like Rabbeinu Tam, and he says the baby was born 4 minutes after Shkia, 4 minutes after Shkia, and he said to do it after Shabbos. To say it was born 4 minutes after Shkia, and even though like Rabbeinu Tam it's Vada Yoim, he pushed it off to be Choishish like the Go'inim. You could say that it was only Shabbos because the Opmach with Shabbos with the Choishish Lashitas HaGo'inim, or maybe even during the week. That was the Uvda was 4 minutes after Shkia, he was Choishish Lashitas HaGo'inim and said to do it the next day. You ask a good question. So usually the moil is going to tell you. I asked Fisher, which is going to speak next week. He told me that the vast majority go l'chumra. L'chumra like the goinim. He didn't say how much later. That I guess depends. Like we saw even in the Shevet HaLevi, a person holds Motzei Shabbos 50 minutes after. But even if you hold like Rabbi Nachum, he said the vast majority hold. Kamat, everybody said besides in Skver, over there they go at least, I think he said a half hour after Shkia, but most go l'chumra de go'inim that even if it's born 5 minutes after Shkia, you don't do the bris anymore till the next day. Yeah, and chanami, but if somebody holds like Rabbi, yes and no. The reason why not is because it's a big shmuz, we'll talk afterwards, but even Rabbeinu Tam Shiter and Moshe holds this earlier. It depends why people do earlier Zman than Rabbeinu Tam. So then it doesn't pass to go l'chumra. If you don't go l'chumra, what's the din if, let's say, Atkan we spoke, Bein Hashmashos is a suffix. So the suffix of Bein Hashmashos, the Atkan we spoke about Bein Hashmashos is a suffix, and the Mela, you push it off. Whenever Bein Hashmashos is, that's a machlokes, Rabbeinu Tam and the Goinim. But Bein Hashmashos is a suffix, and you push it to the next day. What happens if it was Bein Hashmashos? It happens, Amal. So he went into the hospital, and he's not sure. The baby was born tonight, somewhere between 8:15 and 8:35. Like if Shki is 8:25, it was born somewhere over there. So you mesupik if it's bechlal bein hashmashos. What's the halach over there? What does the ilm say? You mesupik if it's bein hashmashos. Bein hashmashos is a suffix. Whenever bein hashmashos is, we're not sure if it's day or night. But what's if you mesupik if it's bein hashmashos? What? So the Radva says that it's the halach is that it's you still consider it as a suffix. So frek the halacha, why tak? It's not a svek sveka. Why is it not a svek sveka? So the halacha says two reasons. One, he says, is because she's mecheskas mu'beres, like he wanted to say mecheskas mu'beres, that she was mu'uber and the baby wasn't born. So you have a chazaka working against the svek sveka. He says another reason. He says that shem suffix chadu. It's one suffix. You mesupik if it's day or if it's night. So it's one suffix. I know you mesupik if it's bein hashmashos and if it's day or night, or if it's before bein hashmashos. Just to explain what a svek cycle would be, is the bein hashmashos is a suffix day or night, and then it could be the baby was born even before bein hashmashos, which is once again day. But it's all one suffix. Just interesting why the Bir Halacha didn't bring these third teretz. The Bir Halacha asked the same shaila on the din by hadlokas neiros. The Shulchan Aruch says that bein hashmashos you're not allowed to light candles anymore. Zok the Mishnah Brewer that even if you're mesupik if it's bein hashmashos, you're also not allowed to tzin lech. So the Bir Halacha asks, it's a svek sveka. So he says shem suffik chad, and then he gives another teretz and he says that something that you don't know, just because you don't know, that's not called a suffix. If you don't know, it's not called a suffix. Chsaron Yedi is not a suffix. The Shulchan Aruch Rav over there says the afal pishu hu einei he doesn't know. Other people know. Other people know. So maybe it's not a suffix. So that's really a third teretz why it's not a svek sveka. L'chayr over here also, it's not a svek sveka. These what to be meyashiv, to be mechalak between that adlokas neiros over here. Just to bring out, where is svek sveka? This is a svek sveka which is shem suffik chadu. Just to understand, where do you find something that's a svek sveka? The halacha is, if a baby's born any time and you want to do the bris on a second day of Yom Tov Shalei B'Zmaneh, these are machlokes Rishonim. Could you do a bris Shalei B'Zmaneh on a second day Yom Tov? Machlokes Rosh and Rambam. What happens if the baby was born, let's go with Shavuos. Shavuos was this year Wednesday and Thursday. The baby was born a week before Shavuos, between Wednesday and Thursday. So if it would be a regular day in between, what would you do between Wednesday and Thursday? You would do it Thursday. Here, Thursday is the second day Yom Tov. The Mechaber says that even in such a case, the halacha is you push it off to Friday. The Noidi B'Yehuda and the Chassam Sofer. Why do you push it off to Friday? It's a svek sveka. What's the two svekas? First of all, Bein Hashmashos is a suffix. The baby was born between Wednesday and Thursday, so maybe it was taka born Thursday. That's one suffix. The second suffix is that could be the second day Yom Tov is not Yom Tov. That's a svek sveika. That's a svek sveika. No, we reckon it as a suffix. We're not mesupik be'etzim. It has a din suffix besides Rosh Hashanah. Klapi the din, it's a suffix. We do it on sveika the yoyma. That's a din. Just so we have klor that these Bein Hashmashos is a suffix. Then if it's a suffix, Bein Hashmashos. And one final last din for another minute. I'm sorry, I'll drop over. What happens if it's for sure before Bein Hashmashos? Shkia today was 8:25 and the baby was born 8:24. What's the halacha? Again, we spoke about Bein Hashmashos as a suffix. Suffix Bein Hashmashos is also a suffix. What happens if it was born vadai a minute before, 3 minutes, a few minutes before? What's the halacha? The Chazon Ish says you have to be machmer a few minutes before to include that in Bein Hashmashos because you can't be medayik. They bring in Bris from Weisbrot, he brings that some say, some say 1 minute, 3 minutes, 1 minute, you have to be machmer before the shkia to consider that also the suffix of Bein Hashmashos. And then he brings that Rabbi Yashav holds that even a minute before, if it's a minute before you do the bris that day, whether if it's Shabbos, the middle of the week, up until, you could go right up until the shkia. Obviously, like in Rav Bosner writes in a different shuva, you have to make sure your clock is accurate no matter what. They're handling even with being mitzamtzem, they say that it's hard to get the exact time of shkia, so you have to be mak for a few minutes. So what we have is Bein Hashmashos is a suffix, and that's going to stay a suffix. Machlokes is when the Bein Hashmashos is. Then we have, if the mesupik when Bein Hashmashos is also a suffix, and then we spoke about if it's a minute or two before shkia, that might also be included in the suffix.